What up? Um, so today's Wednesday. I usually post Wednesday night or Thursday. I was gonna record earlier, but I was unable to due to some noise in the dorm. One of the boys was playing video games and making a good chunk of noise. So, yeah, I'm recording now about 9:30. So, alarm might go off at 10, but let's keep that in check. Today I will be, drumroll please, I will be going through each NBA team's projected starting lineup. Each NBA team's projected starting lineup via Cal Duritz on Hoops Habit, and I will be voicing my opinion on whether I think that's a valid starting lineup and how I think that starting lineup will do to start the games, and ultimately how that team will do during the season. And unless you guys want a different, I think I'm gonna do another video before the season starts of my predictions, teams, awards, stuff like that. And yeah, if you guys want that, I'll do that right before the season starts, just so it can be fresh. But yeah, again, thanks for the support. Gonna keep doing this. Hopefully I can ramp up the amount. I said that last time and I haven't done it yet. But yeah, thanks for everything. Views been down a little bit, but we keep pushing. More consistent you get, the better your content gets, no matter who's watching, how many people watching. So just stay consistent. So this is alphabetical, I believe. So we're gonna start with the Atlanta Hawks, who before I start, they lost John Collins, who was a big piece to their team. Good pick and roll guy, lob threat, solid defender on the inside. Lost him to the Hawks. So their lineup, according to this, is Trae Young, Jonte Murray, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Sadiq Bey, and Clint Capella. So I will always have respect for a guy like Sadiq Bey, because he played for the Pistons, put up good numbers, solid shooter. He is a 4, but I like Sadiq Bey's play style as a 3. So I want to see how they incorporate that, him as a 4, as he's more of an undersized 4. That's why I think he's a 3. A guy I feel like that could have been a perfect replacement for John Collins would have been Jalen Johnson. Basically does the same things. He's a better ball handler. And another guy, I don't think Bogdanovich is going to start this year. I think DeAndre Hunter has that spot, or even AJ Griffin. But I think Bogdanovich is just a good guy to have come straight off the bench and give your team a couple points. So personally, I think their lineup is going to be Trae, obviously DeJounte, DeAndre Hunter. I guess Sadiq has to start because he's the better option, because he's a better scorer than a guy like Jalen Johnson. And then at the 5, Clint Capella. There's no denying. And then off the bench, Onyeka Okongwu. Losing a guy like John Collins may seem like a lot, but these guys are still going to be in the playoff race. I don't know if they're losing a guy like John Collins is pretty big, like 16, 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, 10 rebounds a game. Near double-double guy. So losing him, and now you have to reconstruct that offense, that team in general, because that was Trae Young's main guy when it came to those pick and rolls, picking fades if they even ran it. But yeah, that's my take. I think Hawks will be a borderline playoff team again this season. And let's see. And all right. One roommate just got back. Next is the Boston Celtics. This should be easy. Holiday, Brown, Tatum, Horford, Porzingis. On the surface, that starting five is actually a defensive monster of a team, and rightfully so. Every 1 through 5 on that team can guard whoever they need to guard. I've already talked about Drew Holiday, so I'm not gonna go. Might as well. In my opinion, best two-way guard in the league. Can also provide 18, 19, even 20 points per game. All-star caliber player, and just plays the right basketball. You know, guys like Brown, Tatum, some of the best at their respective position. I think Tatum is the best small forward in the league, and I'm expecting him to continue to. Because I'm expecting him to become consistent when it comes to playoffs, because that's when it really matters. Adding a guy like Porzingis, like I said already, stretches the floor. Good interior force. Keeping a guy like Al Horford on the team, who's again stretches the floor, good defender, and brings that energy to the team. I think the Celtics are going to be a top 2 seed in the East this year. Not much else to say. Just got to see a guy like Tatum actually show up in the playoffs, and I think they could get a chip easily. I feel like Tatum's the only thing holding them back. 3, Brooklyn Nets. So this lineup has Dinwiddie at the 1, Royce O'Neal, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nick Claxton. Personally, I think Ben Simmons is back and running. I want him running the 1 if I'm coach over there, Javon. So I'd have Ben at the 1, Dinwiddie at the 2, Mikal at the 3. I guess Dorian Finney-Smith at the. Where's Cam Johnson? Cam Johnson starting at the 4 over Dorian Finney-Smith. And then Nick Claxton, that's a no-brainer. Guy who continues to improve his offensive game every season. And he's an elite defender, good rim protector. So, again, my lineup, Ben Simmons, Dinwiddie, Mikal, Cam Johnson, and Claxton. That's a solid defensive team. That's another solid. And then having a guy like Ben who can facilitate and be a 6'10" point guard is a scary sight. And then off the bench, you have guys like Cam Thomas. And then I guess Dorian Finney-Smith. I know Day'Ron Sharpe just got hurt in preseason. But they got Lonnie Walker. They got Dennis Smith Jr. They got a solid still young squad. All the guys still a little young. So I think Nets. I think they could also be like a sneak your way into the playoffs type of team. I think they're better than it depends, actually. I think them and the Hawks are going to be on the same tier. But Mikal, like I said already, all-star level player when he has the opportunity, 25-plus points per game, expecting an all-star season out of him. Elite defender, one of the better 3-and-D guys in the league, one of the better two-way players in the league in general. Same with Cam Johnson, shooter. I remember he came out of college and they're like, oh, he's too old to contribute. But him and Mikal are going to stick it out together. I know they probably got a good friendship dating back to the Suns. So, and then Dinwiddie, Dinwiddie, flat-out score, solid playmaker if he's put into that role. But, yeah, that's my take on the Nets. I'm hearing banging right now. Why? So now we have the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Brandon Miller, PJ Washington, and Mark Williams. That's my starting lineup. That would be my starting lineup as well. Now they lost a guy like Miles Bridges who has a warrant out for his arrest right now. So that is not a good sign for your 20-point per game guy before he was suspended. But having a guy like Brandon Miller, I wanted him in Detroit so bad, but our pick got to 5, and I feel like he's gonna be as good as they think he is. I'm very high on a guy like Brandon Miller. I think he's gonna be an all-star one day. Flat out can score the ball. I feel like he's one of those guys who, if he ups his defensive intensity, he will be one of the best two-way players in the league just because of his scoring upside. And then pairing him with a guy like LaMelo Ball, who's flashy, yet he's a good facilitator. I don't care what you say. I know Terry Rozier, again, a good scorer, solid two guard. He's a bit undersized, but he's another just flat-out scorer in the league. Mark Williams, young guy, but he was just, when he was at Duke even, I knew he would be special in the league. He'd be a starting big just because he did everything for that team. So, and he coming in as a rookie doing the same things. I feel like if he's a good rim protector, solid inside scorer. If he continues to if he continues to expand his range, he could really be like one of those guys in the league. Right now, I compare him to a guy like Robert Williams. I think just a little bigger. So, Charlotte team, my prediction for them, I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year just because they're lacking depth. But LaMelo's all-star guy when healthy. I like to see. I'm not going to count him out fully, but I can't say every team's going to make the playoffs. And then like a guy like P.J. Washington, was really good in college, in my opinion. Came into the league, wasn't that good, but he's starting to become what people expected him to be. Solid stretch four. Yeah. Chicago Bulls. So he has Alex Caruso starting, Levine, DeRozan, Pat Will, Vucevic. Man, the Bulls are Lonzo Ball away from being a contender again. Man, I'm just so sad to see a guy like Lonzo be hurt. I think Kobe White starts over Caruso, though. Just because, I don't know, he brings more of a scoring to the squad than Caruso. Caruso's an elite defender. But it's just going to be hard when you don't have that facilitator like Lonzo. Like before the Celtics got Drew, I was saying, like, if the Celtics could have got a guy like healthy Lonzo, they would be contenders. Because Lonzo is that facilitator, that do-it-all guard, who kind of reminds me of Drew, actually. But he's just a better facilitator and a playmaker than Drew is. So I think he'd bring that element to that Celtics team. But to digress, I just think Bulls, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs this year. I don't know. They just haven't meshed as well as they did that first season when they had like that full squad. So I know they're missing the facilitating and playmaking and defensive ability that Lonzo brings to the table. Your guys, DeRozan, Levine, they're going to average, 24, 25 points per game. I'm still waiting for that breakout year out of Patrick Williams, man. He looks good, but I feel like you see a guy like Rui Hachimura. I feel like Rui Hachimura in LA right now is doing what I believe Patrick Williams should be doing in Chicago. And I don't think that's a bad take. They're similar play styles. But I think Pat, he's due for, I know he's been in the lab, him, Dalen Terry, the young guys, been working with DeRozan, so that's good. And then Vucevic, you average about 18 to 20, solid rebounding. He's actually a better defender than many people think. I saw a stat a while back talking about his on-ball defense and how he's like one of the best, if not the best, on-ball big man defender in the league when it comes to like inside the paint or something along those lines. So you can't doubt a guy like Vucevic on the defensive side of the ball, because I know a lot of people put this narrative that he's not the best defender. But you can't say that if you don't look at the stats, and the stats say otherwise. I think the Bulls 10, maybe a 9-10 seed, maybe sniffing a play-in. Like, I think play-in teams would be like Bulls, Hawks, something like that. Next, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, the Cavs are like a sure playoff team. I'm going to start it off right here. Cavs. Mitchell has to be more consistent in the playoffs. I've said this a million times on this podcast. You can go back to my other episodes. Donovan Mitchell has to be more consistent. We know the starting lineup. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. Ooh, I like the addition of Max Strus stretching the floor. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I know Jared Allen is hurt to start the season, so I think we're gonna see Mobley playing a lot of big man, 5 minutes. But so the Cavs are gonna be a playoff team for the foreseeable future. I just want to continue to see Evan Mobley grow into what he should be, which is comparable to a guy like Kevin Garnett. Let that sink in. He's a generational talent, really good defender. I feel like he should have won DPOY next year. And I feel like this is his year to win it if there was one. You got Darius Garland. He's just a guy that needs to stay healthy. Solid 20 points, 8 to 9 assists, 7 to 9, I'd say. Maybe 6 to 9. But Donovan Mitchell, top 5 shooting guard in the league. Flat out score. Like I said, he just has to show up in the playoffs. Max Strus, knockdown, shooter. Big loss, not a big loss for the Heat, but that's a shooter. I know they're gonna bring Duncan Robinson back into that squad over there. No, because basically do the same things. And then Jared Allen, Jared Frosho. Really good rim protector. He jumps with everybody. That's why he gets dunked on. But if you don't jump with nobody, you ain't gonna get dunked on. So that means you're not trying if you never get dunked on or crossed over. So that's the thing with basketball. If you try hard enough, you're going to get crossed or dunked on. So that's why I like guys like Claxton, Jared. They trying to get every block. I feel like Chet Holmgren is gonna be a guy like that too. Just big man who want to get that block. They're going to risk getting dunked on. They're going to risk taking the poster. And I like that. Like I said, I think Cavs make the playoffs again this season. Adding a guy like Donovan Mitchell was huge for them last year. Happy to see my guy, Imani Bates, the Michigan native, over there. Hope to see him thrive and continue to work and eventually get a starting spot over there and become the star that we all saw the potential in him when he was the number 1 player in the nation and possibly number 1 pick. But some things happen, so everything happens for a reason. Rooting for Imani, man. They got Isaac Okoro as well off the bench. I think they lost Chetty Osman, legend. But yeah. Next we have Dallas Mavericks. Luka, Kyrie, Tim Hardaway, Grant Williams, and Dwight Powell. So we know Luka always going to be in the MVP race. I feel like Luka won't win the MVP until his team is a top 5 seed. Adding a guy like Kyrie is going to just, I guess, take a load off of him. Last season, they traded. I'm still so confused why Kyrie demanded a trade. They were a top 3 team in the East. I feel like they could have won the championship last year. But Kyrie just out of nowhere. I was not expecting that. As a KD fan, I was so mad. Like, you trying to break up this duo, this tandem? I guess so. But Tim Hardaway Jr., sharpshooter. I haven't really paid attention to his defensive side of the ball, but I can't say it's horrible. They added Grant Williams. I guess Grant will stretch the floor. He'll probably be the guy guarding the other team's best wing. And that's a solid addition to the squad. And then Dwight Powell, Mr. Reliable. He doesn't do anything great, but he does all the little things and does it good. So I think this year, this is, again, it depends on that duo up top. Kyrie and Luka, man. I can see this team not making the playoffs, but I can also see this team being a 6-7 seed. So I think it just depends on Luka and Kyrie, to me, for real. Off the bench, they got Jaden Hardy, who's a bucket, 20-point per game scorer in the future. Don't doubt it. I'm still kind of confused why they got rid of a guy like Christian Wood, though. I'm not gonna. Christian Wood in LA. Next we have Denver, which is basically this going to be the same starting lineup last year. Jamal. I'm sorry. Jamal Murray, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. Championship starting lineup right there. They lost a guy like Bruce Brown, which is I wouldn't say that's a big loss, but he was a big part in that championship run. But that starting lineup, they're gonna contend again. Nuggets are gonna contend. I just like to see a guy like MPJ continue to improve shooting. MPJ, I don't care what y'all say, he don't pass the ball. He shoots 40% from three, about 15 points a game. I know he had that season where he averaged 18, but he does his job. He plays. His shot selection is still questionable, but that just comes from a guy who has a background of being a star. And when you're not a star, you got to work for it. So I like that that wing combo of him and Aaron Gordon, KCP. KCP, plays that defense, give you shots. Isn't the most consistent, but he got 2 rings out of it. Jamal Murray, playoff legend. Don't see it in the regular season all the time, but we see it in the postseason, and that's what matters. But I want to see Jamal Murray have a solid regular season. I know he's coming off like injury and things of that nature, so can't knock him for that. And Jokic, best player in the NBA as of last season. Not much to say about him, other than the fact that he got that revenge for not giving him that MVP. And he got that ring in the finals MVP. It would have been crazy. See, personally, I think he was the MVP, almost averaged a triple-double as a center, and that's enough said right there. But I feel like Jokic should have won that MVP. That would have been an insane run if he would have gotten the MVP and the finals MVP and the championship and the Western Conference MVP in the same season. Yeah. I think Nuggets are going to be a top 5 seed again just because of that. Just having Jokic on your team, like having guys like Jokic, Giannis on your squad just makes you – it's like when you go on 2K. When you go on 2K, like back in the day when you put like a guy like LeBron, KD, Steph Curry. Like when you put one of those guys on your team, you're automatically going to that championship, no matter what in my league. And having guys like Jokic, and I only say Jokic and Giannis, really, are the 2 big men in the league who, if you have them on your team, you're guaranteed to go to the playoffs. And because the way I go, Jokic makes everyone around him better, and Giannis just being a force on offense and defense. It's just hard for those guys to not be the consensus top 2 players in the league. Coming from me as a KD fan, I've learned to accept that those are the top 2 basketball players in the NBA. Detroit Pistons, Cunningham, Ivy, Bojan, Isaiah Stewart, Duran off the bench, 6-man, Asar Thompson, call it. I think this is Cade's most improved player year. I know Jordan Poole could take it from him because he's over there in Washington with basically free reign to do whatever he needs over there. But, Cade, I'm thinking I think Cade could be an all-star this year, realistically, if he keeps that's one thing about Cade in his first couple years in the league has just been consistency being a problem. And if he continues to be work on his consistency and become consistent, I feel like he could be an all-star. Ivy, I think the only thing about Ivy was his shot selection and the fact that his three ball wasn't on par. So I saw over the summer he was working on his three ball, and I like to see that come to fruition this season. At the three, we got Boyan. Boyan's a flat out bucket. Had his most career points per game last season with us, and he's just a bucket. At the four, Isaiah Stewart. I've liked how he's become a guy who expanded his game, even though he's still young. He's a defender, rebounder, gritty player, but he expanded his game and he expanded his range to become more of a stretch four. Remember, he was talking about a guy like Al Horford, and that's like a good model. Like if you're a guy who is a 4-5 kind of. For Stu, he's kind of undersized, but like 6'9" is not a horrible height for a power forward. And you got the shot, really, the mid range, the post game, the rebounding, the defense. Why not add a 3 to your game to enhance the team? And they got like Duren. Duren's only going to be in his second season. That pick and roll between Cade and Duren is going to be something this season. As Duren is a freak of nature. I want to see him again, like Stu. I want to see him develop a three ball. I know he's still young, but he can jump out the gym. Really good rebounder, defender. A lot of people like him, like a Dwight Howard, and I like that too. Pistons. We'll see where we at. I don't know, but okay, we'll see where we are at the end of the season. I think we're maybe 11 seed. People are saying we're going to be the 15 seed. I don't think so. I think our team is too young and too talented with all that potential, like a guy like Asar Thompson. I think Asar is going to be an all-defensive player, maybe as a rookie. I've seen film on him play defense, and he does not bite on anything. I saw this post about him seeing D-Book come to OTE, and he was like in awe. And then in the preseason game, he like snatch blocked him, and I saw a comment that was like, when your idols become your enemies. But that's just great to see that full circle moment, man, where guys that you look up to in the league become your rivals. And that's just something that just goes to show that hard work will bring you to places that you never thought. Like some people like basketball, and they put in the work, and they don't even expect to play against those guys that they looked up to, but they end up doing it because it was in the will of God. And that's why a lot of things you just gotta stay persistent and continue doing whatever you're doing and stay at it and don't quit. So seeing stuff like that happen just inspires me to continue doing what I'm doing. Warriors. So they have this. He has Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Looney. I'm setting this straight. Wiggins has to start. I think. Wiggins just brings too much to this team for him to come off the bench as a sixth man. So I think CP3 comes off the bench with that bench unit. I was thinking about a guy like Kuminga running that pick and roll with CP. And I think CP is going to enhance Kuminga's young career and make him a much better player off the bench. I think CP comes off the bench. So my lineup is Curry, Klay, Wig, Draymond, and Loon. And I think that's a balanced squad. Still, the depth is going to be, when you have a guy like Chris Paul off the bench who can facilitate, I don't care who you have, he's going to make something happen. So he's going to make something shake. I like to see the lineups of CP at the 1 instead of Curry at the 1, because putting Curry at the 2 means more shots. They might start both of them, but I just can't. I just don't see a world where Wiggins comes off the bench for this team. I know they got Klay, but I don't see a world where Wiggins comes off the bench. They might have to slide Draymond to the 5 and put Wig at the 4 if they're gonna run that 2 guard backcourt. But I think Warriors make the playoffs again this year I think Warriors are gonna be about 5 seed. Oh, that's when I do my projections for the season. I'm gonna do like who I think is gonna be MVP, all that, And then I'm going to do my 1 through 15 ranking of each position in the standings that I think is going to end at in the seeding. So I think Warriors will be a 5, 6, 7 seed, somewhere in there, depending on how they start the season, really. Team 11 is the Houston Rockets. So they got Van Vliet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Sengun. Solid squad. I've already talked about that starting lineup before. I think that's a valid starting lineup. And a guy like Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks got ejected in a preseason game. The energy he's bringing to this team, man, already, and the season hasn't even started yet. I've already talked about this squad. Not much to say. Pretty young squad all around with a guy like Cam Whitmore off the bench, who I wanted to draft in Detroit, no lie. But we are grateful with Asar. I think Rockets, they could be a sleeper, but they could also suck again. I don't think they'll be 15 seed though. I think they'll be they could be a French playoff team. Like I said, I might get league pass because I want to do a lot of writing about NBA this year. So I'm gonna get league pass and I'm gonna watch a lot of games. I'm gonna watch a lot of film just to get that. I want to watch a lot of early games to see how teams are molded to begin the season. And I think a team like the Rockets with that veteran presence of Fred VanVleet, I want to see how that rocks. Having Amen Thompson off the bench as well, who I think will be a great point guard in this league once he has the chance to actually run the show himself. And yeah, that's my idea of the Rockets. I know last year they were pretty childish. A lot of people are saying it's just another AAU team. That's valid enough. Pacers, I've talked about them. I think they're in the same boat as the Pistons. They have Halliburton, Ben Mathurin, Bruce Brown, Obi Toppin, and Miles Turner. Off the bench, you got guys like TJ McConnell. If they still have Buddy Hield. You got like Nemhard. You got Neesmith. Guys being very loud outside the dorm right now. I think we're like Pistons and Pacers are like in the same boat when it comes to like having a young core, solid core, with your vet being that guy like Miles Turner or like TJ McConnell. This is gonna be a squad where I feel like I think we're gonna be in the same boat, man. I think that start lineup is valid. I like the addition of Obi Toppin and Bruce Brown. I feel like Obi Toppin's gonna have a Blake Griffin type year with a guy like Halliburton, who's an elite playmaker, and Obi can jump out the gym. You know what that causes for? Lob City. So I think having a guy like Obi Toppin on your team, actually giving him a chance over there in Indiana, man. We're not gonna talk about what happened in New York, but he wasn't really given the best chance. But at the same time, it's whatever coach wants over there. And I think Pacers and Pistons are gonna be on par with each other the whole season. Halliburton, I think, is gonna be an all-star. Ben Mathurin, looking for a leap year out of him, even though he had a really good rookie season. And then Bruce Brown coming over from the Nuggets is gonna bring that intensity. Bruce, I know he's still working on that jumper, man. It's actually coming. It's coming along because he hit a lot of big shots in the playoffs. And I feel like, man, we're always gonna love Bruce over here in Detroit because that's where he was earlier in the year. So yeah, I think Pacers and Pistons are gonna be two teams to look at as battles, other than Rockets and Pistons because of the twins and then Cade and Jalen Green. But that's gonna be another duo, or not duo, but rival. Clippers. So we have Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Batum, and Zubac. So this is our chance to see if triple-double Russ is back. I know they're trying to get Harden, but what's the point, man? I don't see the purpose in getting Harden. I don't, because you already got Westbrook. What are we looking for Harden to do? I just think Harden stays with Embiid, man. That duo could be deadly if clicking. So why want to come to a team where you won't even be? You'd be the third option. I know you'd be the facilitator, but I'd rather be as a guard, as a guy who's transitioned from the number one option and a two guard to the number two option and a point guard. I'd want to stay with an elite big man and not come to a team with wings who are better and more ball dominant than I am, even though I can facilitate for them. I just don't think they already got Westbrook, so why trade for Harden? What they gonna run? Harden? They gonna run Westbrook, Harden, PG at the 3, Kawhi at the 4, Zubac at the 5? I don't see it. They could bring Westbrook off the bench, but I think this team makes the playoffs regardless. Having Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the wing is deadly. Two of the best two-way players in basketball. Kawhi's back fully healthy. Paul George healthy. No load management this year for both of them. So we're going to see him play. I think they make the playoffs. They're like in that 6. They could be 6 to 9. I'm at team 14, so we're at the Lakers Lake Show. D'Lo, Reeves, AR, LeBron, AD, Christian Wood. Lakers, I think the Lakers are gonna make a run. They're deep. Lakers are deep, man. And I ain't the biggest LeBron fan, but the Lakers, I think they're gonna make a run. It's either they make a run or they get beat in the first round. D'Lo has become inconsistent. He's been inconsistent in his career, but I feel like he was best when he was on the Nets, when he had the team to himself. AR, who's just starting to come into his game. It's crazy that Austin Reeves was undrafted. I remember seeing him in college. And he had the wild hair, like you couldn't see. It was like he did not look the same that he does now. And he was tough. He was putting up big numbers in college. And when he got to the league and he started doing good, people were like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like, he was good in college. He did this at a Division I level. I don't know where the confusion's coming from now. But yeah, AR proved himself in the playoffs. Carried a load. Carried his own. Him and a guy like, Rui's off the bench. Dang. I guess. Because I know AD wants to play the 4 now. The addition of Christian Wood. They got Jackson Hayes as bigs. I usually never say this, but I like the Lakers for making a run this year, man. Because they got a deep squad. You got LeBron. Come on, we know what LeBron's doing. LeBron's about to have the most points in basketball history, any league, any career. So that's enough right there. And then Christian Wood, floor spacer. Christian Wood had the potential coming out of college to be a very elite defender. But really elite. Like his wingspan, his measurements, his all of that stuff he was set to be a good defender, but he's become what we know as a stretch big now, which is nothing wrong with that. He can stretch the floor. Great guy in the post. Like I said, I like the Lakers' chances. They're making the playoffs, in my opinion. If they don't make the playoffs, man, come back to this video and spam me, please. Projected start lineup for the Grizzlies. I'm going to do when Ja Morant comes back. So it's going to be Ja, Marcus Smart. Okay, so never mind. Let me scratch that. I'm going to do the lineup when he's out. So Marcus Smart's going to start the 1. They got Desmond Bader at the 2. Valid. They have Conchar at the 3. Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams. Losing Dylan Brooks. I'm going to see who's going to fill that role. I feel like Roddy could have easily filled that Dylan Brooks role. He's younger, solid shooter. Big body, though. But I like the addition of Marcus Smart. They got D Rose off the bench, too. I feel like Smart's going to start when Ja comes back because they need that defense. Losing a guy like Dylan Brooks. You got Jaren Jackson, just came off a DPOY year. And, yeah. And then Steven Adams. We know what Steven Adams good for. And that is the 15th team. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop at the 15th team, which is the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm going to pick back up. I'm going to come back tomorrow. And I'm going to post it tomorrow. And I'm going to start with the Miami Heat tomorrow. So far of the teams I've talked about, the teams that strike my eye to be contenders, like I said, are the Lakers. Warriors are going to be in there. Celtics are going to be in there. Clippers, I guess, are going to be in there. Grizzlies, they're always a contender, but we got to see how they play when it comes to playoffs, when they got a John Morant who's not making bad decisions out here. But out of the team so far, those are my teams that I think are going to compete. Guys who are going to make the biggest impact, I think, depends on each team. Every team's going to have that impact player. And, so that's my take so far on the first 15 teams alphabetically in the NBA. I don't want to hold y'all. This would have been might have been an hour and a half video. So this is going to be episode, I'm going to do 4.5. And then tomorrow's going to be 5. Or, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to just do 5 and then 6 or whatever episode I'm on. But, yeah. Personally, those are my ideas of starting lineups so far this season. Like I said, I'm going to do the other half of the league tomorrow. And then next pod after that, I'm going to do my projections. I'm going to map everything out. I'm going to do my research because that's what I'm good for. Research, studying film, doing all that stuff. And I remember talking about the WNBA potential top 5 draft picks. 6, actually. And I want to talk about that one of these. I think I'm going to talk about that when I do my projections for the NBA. So, just stay tuned, man. Just out here grinding. So, I know that projections video is going to be, I think I'm going to split that in half, too. I'm going to start giving y'all parts so that I don't bore y'all and hold y'all past the time that I should. So, that's all I have today. Not really any takeaways, man. Starting lineups wise, we see the Lakers get a guy like Christian Wood. That's mainly biggest change. And then see the Grizzlies get a guy like Marcus Smart. Like we know Drew Holiday, the addition, and they got Porzingis. That squad's gonna be hard to beat. I want to see them against the Bucks in the playoffs. And I'm not going to give y'all my title favorite, even though I've said it so many times yet. I'm going to do that in my predictions video. Is going to be like everything. So just prepare for that, y'all. That's going to take me a long time to get out because I want to be as precise and have my opinions be short, simple, or they could be long and long-winded. So until next time, which is going to be, I'm going to post this tomorrow morning. I might post it tonight. I got time tonight. I'm going to post it tonight. And then the next one I'm going to post tomorrow. I'm going to record sometime, I guess, after. I'm gonna get it out. I'm gonna post the second part somehow tomorrow. I'm gonna post it tomorrow. I might have to get up early and record, but hey, that's part of the grind, man. It's later. I usually do this about 5 o'clock. It's about 10 now, so hey, the grind is real. Just thank y'all for the support. Those who are still watching the vids. I know people haven't been viewing all the vids, but that's valid. I know people like the content. Appreciate y'all giving me support and please give me feedback of what you guys think, and also give me suggestions of what else y'all want me to talk about. I know I have it set in stone what I want to talk about, but I want to know what the fans and the viewers want me to talk about as well. So yeah, once again, thanks, and until tomorrow, I will see y'all again. Peace out, y'all.